Hello, I'm Danielle Kane, and I'm with the Conscious Broadcast. Thank you for joining me today. I am doing a video to reflect on the most recent episode number 4, the Gene Keys with Epiphanio. And I didn't really know much about the Gene Keys, but I was really blown away about how in depth Epiphanio went with his podcast, over 600 episodes on just one tool to kind of really get to know ourselves. And so after listening to our interview, because I had to listen to it over again, I was really, really intrigued with what he was saying and wanted to learn more. So I actually downloaded my own profile just today, and I'm going to share a little bit about that in just a minute. But what I've come to find is that with this process of awakening our consciousness, you kind of go down the rabbit hole, like Epiphanio said. He followed every guru to the point where they don't know who you are. So you can only receive the information and connect with it so far. And then at some point, you really have to journey within yourself and explore yourself. So the first step, and if you can relate to this, is knowing that there is something else out there that you didn't realize was actually going on. It was like a distraction. And so that's another way I can look at it. I've been distracted. I don't know if I've really been living my own thoughts for more than a half of my life, because I was playing in a game that I was trying to survive in. And then when I realized there's got to be more to this than just surviving, right? And barely making it. And then feeling in this low place, this shadow place, which again, I'm very interested in exploring what the gene keys talk about in the shadow and the sacred womb. So when you kind of go through that shift in consciousness, you get excited and you want to learn everything about what it is that now you can see in a different way. And my exploration was first with quantum healing hypnosis, and it really made me understand that this existence is has layers, obviously, of having to feel through a lot of things. And I was always kind of not reprimanded for feeling, but I felt a lot, and I couldn't really control my feelings when I was younger. I'd cry all the time, didn't really know why. So I kind of shut that off. But now, tuning back into my feelings, I'm exploring more of what resonates and what really it feels good for me to receive the abundance that I want in this life. So I'm really interested now in the gene keys, and I know it's kind of like a further expansion by Richard Rudd from Human Design, which he was following for years, but felt it somewhat restricted, and especially as Epiphanio said. But there's 64 keys, and it's when I just ordered the book too, so it's not a book that you necessarily read from beginning to end. You kind of find what your 3 points are. There's the genius, the love, and the prosperity. And I know it goes into like the shadow, the Venus, and then the Siddhi or city. Again, I'm just really tapping the surface here. But, I think all of us have somewhat really tried to understand ourselves. And so once you go through this awakening of consciousness, you learn that you want to learn more about yourself, because it's the outside world that you're seeing, okay, things are just not adding up. So the only place really to go is to go within, because that's the only thing that you know. And finding your way, and what is your way, and discovering why you act the way that you do. So I'm really excited to start this journey. So I downloaded a hologenetic profile, and that's what this is here. I don't think you can see it. No, you can't see it with my background. So anyway, I'm going to read it to you. So what I find really interesting is, so I bought the book, then I recommend you doing this profile, and then you can do this first journey online to really kind of guide you in a linear way through this process. Otherwise, you kind of really don't know what you're doing and how to follow things sometimes when you're opening yourself up to trying to understand what the author of this method is trying to say. So I'm looking forward to following it. But my genius, he says, everyone has the ability to reach this higher part of themselves, the genius that we all have. My deepest purpose in life is to manifest the gift of orientation. And I find that to be really interesting. To realize my purpose, I need to transform the shadow of dislocation. And I am really excited about that shadow of dislocation because I'm going to be honest, I never felt like I really belonged anywhere. So I think I just created something to kind of blend in, and feel like I belonged. But I can relate to that if I'm on the same path of what that dislocation means. I would really like to get rid of that shadow so I can now receive and feel the most abundance and acceptance in myself. And then love. In relationships, my greatest challenge is to transform the shadow of exhaustion, which I do. Being a parent, you know what that's like. It can be exhausting. So I can relate to that. Into the gift of resolve. The highest expression of my heart is bliss. Okay. And then prosperity. I unlock my prosperity through my gift of equilibrium. I undermine my prosperity through the shadow of corruption. And I thrive best as an entrepreneur. So, which I am. And I've always, I think I've always been on that path. Ultimately, I went to school for business and I was business management major. So a lot of stuff that I can see now is in alignment. So I'm really excited to journey. And a lot of things that we've talked about so far on the channel are the inner child. It looks like I'm going to have to do some more inner child work, really understand who I am at an early age. Talk about the sacred room. It apparently happens at in conception, not birth, but conception. And he relates, Richard Rudd relates this all to the Big Bang, like we're our own Big Bang, which I can totally relate to. So I'm really looking forward to diving deep more within myself and just get a better understanding, like almost like a compass of why I might be who I am or respond the way that I am. So if you're connected to this, um, please keep in touch because I think I'm going to interview some more individuals that have been on the Gene Keys path, and I can also relay some more of some insight based on my experience. And I'm also, now that I have a better understanding, I'm looking forward to tapping into more of Epiphanio's podcast because he goes into depth on all the gene keys. And he says at any point, even if you draw your attention to something that's meant for you, if your design doesn't necessarily talk about a key, but you're drawn to it, that's what you need to focus on. So I'm really looking forward to now maybe being able to understand the concepts a little bit more in detail. But I thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Conscious Broadcast. Have a wonderful day.